Thursday, would be the final day for Bobby Reds, to his last trip on Earth. We'll be transitioned to the cemetery. So, ladies and gentlemen, today I have one question, and it is only 4 words. Will you show up? And we're talking about Bounty Killer. Will you show up? Josey Wales. Will you show up? Admiral Bailey. Will you show up? Richie B. Yeah man, Richard Burgess. Will you show up? Ian, Pepe Goodison. Will you show up? Junior Cat. Will you show up? I know if Super Cat was in Jamaica, he would show up. And Shabba Ranks. All of them, they knew Bobby and I. Because we were very active in the division, and we, at some point in time, more than once, we had a cordial relationship with these people, or we can say a professional relationship, and we can outline even the thing them, even with Richie B. Bobby and I, we travel with him at times to Portland and other places. Due to one and two little things, we're not gonna disclose that. That we used to bodyguard him during a certain period. You understand. Bounty Killer in the early 90s, 1994, when he was at war with Beanie Man and men from Waters wanted to arm him physically. Both of us would provide, we'd bodyguard him, provide security for him, even at the Extreme Club in Portmore. And he knew Bobby very well, even yours truly. Bounty Killer did dances on me, so I will be there. Ian Pepe Goodison, we can say so many things about him today. We are talking about the Jamaican footballer. When his brother funeral, when we had held his cousin who was wanted, and we have made an exception to the rule by allowing his cousin to go to Lovecut at the funeral, and Josey Wales and Admiral Bailey, they brought him back to Huntsby to us. Remember, it was yours truly and Bobby Reds. So there are so many things that Bobby have done. Junior Cat, he was not just to me, but to Bobby. Or else he would be in prison for 15 years. So all of these men that I've mentioned, these are men that we have known personally, have a relationship with them. So we're just asking publicly, not because I am not Porter anymore in Jamaica, Detective Porter, and Bobby Reds. Bobby's no longer here, so I have to talk for him. The last time I spoke to Bounty Killer was when his mom died. I spoke to Admiral Bailey about 3 years ago. Josey Wales, I haven't spoken to Josey Wales. But my father had seen him when he was in Jamaica a few years ago. Bounty Killer, we go way back. Even Bounty Killer brother Bailey, I have a photograph with, I didn't even know that Bailey and Bobby Reds and I. And to everybody else who crossed path with District Constable Sylford Bobby Reds Williams over the years, will you show up to say goodbye? I'll be there. I am not asking that question to embarrass anyone or anybody. I am not accusing anybody of abandoning Bobby Reds. I am asking because we have history. And when I say we have history, I mean something. There was a time before social media, before Instagram, before WhatsApp, before YouTube, before everybody could pick up a phone and broadcast their life to the world. There was a time when relationships were built face to face. Yeah, Bobby know Richie B wife personally, Suzette. You know, even at times, we're on the road. We'd go to his gas station, and we sit in his office and we have a good laugh, and we have that relationship. But I migrated. I don't know if Bobby, was still keeping in touch with him. But as time goes by, everything was good, so. So when people remember who stood beside them, when a man's word meant something, when loyalty wasn't a hashtag, and Bobby Reds and I came through that era. For more than a decade, this man worked beside me in one of the toughest policing environments in Jamaica. And we did some good work. Yeah, man, we did some great work. Yeah, man, Bobby. He wasn't somebody I read about. He wasn't somebody I met yesterday. That was my partner. That was my... Yes, welcome to the Jamaica Young Police channel. To our loyal viewers, subscribers and Patreon member. At the channel, we are a group of law-abiding citizens who believe in the rule of law and respect the rights of every citizen, but not the ones who do not subscribe to such behavior. We do believe in and support preemptive strikes because they save lives. This is a logical conclusion because preemptive strikes save lives and prevent the further loss of lives. We are all about saving lives at this channel. We at the channel aid criminals with a passion and do not want them over here. We do not want your views, your subscriptions, your likes or your comments. Please go elsewhere where the red carpet is waiting for you. Over here, we want you to go to prison or the departure lounge at Madden. Moving on to today's video. Brother, that was my friend. We worked together. We faced difficult circumstances together. There was no other two police like us at Unspear. We saw Jamaica during some very challenging years. And along that journey, our path crossed with people from entertainment, football, communities, and Jamaica public life. And some of those people became internationally known. Some became legends. But today, this isn't about celebrity. Today, this is about who has the biggest name. Today, this isn't about who has the most followers. Today is about Bobby Reds. A man has completed his journey. And when that final day comes, I want to look around and see something that money cannot buy. People remembering, because flowers are beautiful, tributes are beautiful, messages are beautiful, but sometimes the greatest tribute is simple as this: you show up. So, gentlemen, friends, former colleagues, and everyone whose life crossed Bobby Red's path, when the time comes to say goodbye, will you show up? This is an invitation, not an attack. Let me make something abundantly clear from the beginning. Nobody mentioned in this video is being accused or refusing to attend Bobby Red's funeral. I will be there, so I'm looking forward to see all of these people that were crossed paths when we were active in St. Andrews South. Nobody's been condemned. Nobody's been ordered to attend. Yeah, we used to, at Bounty Killers, Saga to the East, backstage, and we used to be at his show at Cayman as estate. So we had memories. Bounty Killer the show for us. You understand? So we go way back. Nobody's been ordered to attend. I don't know everybody's schedule. I don't know everybody's commitments. I don't know everybody's personal circumstances. That is precisely why I am asking the question rather than making an accusation. Will you show up? This is an invitation. This is an appeal. And more than anything else, it is a reminder. Sometimes people don't understand how important their presence can be until somebody asks them personally. And that is what I am doing. I am asking. I'm asking you, Richie B, my brethren, my friend. May I ask you, the Colonel Josey Wales, my father friend for years, decades, and then Chris, the son. I also Pillar Blacks are going to be there, because man, you know, we go way back, man, Bobby go way back. You understand? Pepe, Ian, Pepe Goodison will be there. I don't know the killer will be there. Hopefully he'll be there. I'll see him. After so many years I haven't seen him. Everybody suddenly remembers a story. Everybody remembers an encounter. So boy, we have so many things to catch up on. Everybody remembers something the person said. But while we are alive, we often postpone saying what needs to be said. We think there will always be another day, another telephone call, another reunion, another opportunity. Then suddenly, there isn't. Bobby Reds has taught me that lesson all over again. Bobby Reds was my partner, my friend, my brother. I need younger members of my audience to understand something about policing. Your partner is simply another employee wearing the same uniform. I don't know how it is now with policing, but back then, you know, you couldn't have two police, one coward and one brave. It was one of a bad. When gunshots start beat, you beat it and you beat and you don't retreat. When you work difficult areas together, that relationship becomes different. You learn how the other person thinks. You learn his strengths. You know when something isn't right without him having to say anything. You depend upon one another. That is what Bobby Reds meant to me. For more than a decade, we worked together around Hunts Bay and the surrounding policing environment. When people hear the name Porter connected with those community, they need to understand that there were people standing beside Porter. Bobby Reds was one of those people. I will never erase him from that history. I refuse to tell the story as though I accomplished everything by myself. That would be dishonest. Whatever reputation we build, whatever relationship we develop with residents, whatever information came our way, whatever confidence people place in us, Bobby Reds was a part of that journey. And now he's gone. That is difficult for me to say, but that is reality. So this video is not simply content, this is personal. Before social media, there was real history. Young people watching this need to understand the Jamaica we came through. There was no smartphone recording every encounter. There wasn't a live stream every time something happened. Nobody was checking likes. Nobody was asking how many subscribers you had. Relationships were relationships. If somebody knew you, they knew you. If somebody trusted you, they trusted you. That trust was earned. And Bobby Reds and I met many people along the journey. Entertainers, athletes, community personalities, business people, ordinary Jamaicans, people who later became famous. We did not seek friends from people. These things are happening naturally. And we choose who to associate ourselves with. Some of them may remember Bobby Reds immediately. Some may remember him after seeing his photograph. Others may remember circumstances from those days differently than I do. That's perfectly fine. Memory belongs to each individual. What matters today Bobby Reds was there. He lived, he served, he contributed, he left footprints. And those footprints should not disappear simply because he has passed away. Bounty Killer, will you show up? Bounty Killer, I am asking you publicly and respectfully, will you show up? You and Bailey. Not because you are Bounty Killer the superstar. Not because cameras might be there. Not because anybody needs publicity. Quite the opposite. I'm asking you because history is bigger than fame. People see entertainers after they become famous and sometimes forget there was a whole life before the fame. Remember when Bailey was wanted? It was Bobby who distinguished the difference between both of you. But we know you differently. When police were saying that it was you, that you was the one that was wanted for the triple murder, Bobby, and I said, no, this is not Bailey, this is the brother. There were communities, there were friendships, there were difficult moments, there were police officers, there were ordinary Jamaicans, there were people behind the scenes. There were people who never appear on an album cover, never received an award, never stood on a stage, but they were a part of the environment from which Jamaican culture emerged. That history matters. And if Bobby Reds was a part of a chapter in your life, then your presence would mean something. Not to me alone, to his family, to people who remember those years, and perhaps even to you, because funerals have a way of reminding us how quickly life moves. Josey Wales, will you show up? Josey Wales, a veteran, a man whose name represents as important period in Jamaican music. We know that you're not in the best of health or 100%. But I'm asking you the same simple question, will you show up? There are some relationships that cannot be measured by how often people spoke. Hours we spend, there with you playing loaded domino. People can go decades without seeing one another and still share history. Time doesn't automatically erase history. Distance doesn't erase history. Success doesn't erase history. Age doesn't erase history. And death certainly doesn't and shouldn't erase history. Sometimes attending a funeral isn't about how close you were yesterday. Sometimes it's about acknowledging what somebody meant during an earlier chapter of your life. That is why I am reaching out. Admiral Bailey, will you show up? Will you show up, Admiral Bailey? Again, this isn't pressure. It is condemnation. It is an invitation to remember. Jamaica has produced extraordinary talent from extraordinary difficult circumstances. And behind many famous Jamaican stories are hundreds of ordinary people whose names the public never learn. Police officers, teachers, neighbors, coaches, community leaders, friends, men like Bobby Reds. When somebody from that generation passes away, we lose another witness to a piece of Jamaican history. And that is why saying goodbye matters. Richie B, that is Richard Burgess. Yeah man, 2 to 6 super mix. Yeah, Richie B was a big whip on the radio every day and people say, wow, the 13 said, boy, we just hear Richie B, I big up the 12, Yeah, cause we are friends. We were friends then. I haven't seen him in decades. I haven't spoken to him. Richie B has spent years documenting and presenting Jamaican entertainment history. You understand better than many people how quickly generations change. Today's superstar eventually becomes tomorrow's veteran. And eventually, history becomes memory. So I ask you, will you show up? Because sometimes the people who helped shape an era are not the people whose name appear in newspapers. Sometimes they were standing 10 feet away. Sometimes they were protecting the environment. Sometimes they were quietly helping. Sometimes they were simply good men doing their jobs. Those stories deserve preservation too. Ian Pepe Goodison, will you show up? Football teaches something similar to policing. You cannot win alone. 11 men enter that field. Each man has a responsibility. One mistake can affect everybody. One great play can lift everybody. That idea of teamwork is something I understand, because policing taught me the same thing. When Bobby Reds and I were working together, I understand that I wasn't operating alone. There was somebody beside me, somebody watching, somebody contributing, somebody carrying part of the burden. And eventually, every team plays its final match. Every officer eventually removes the uniform. Every athlete eventually leaves the field. Every entertainer eventually leaves the stage. And every human being eventually reaches the end of the journey. That is why the relationship we built along the way matter. Junior Cat, will you show up? I extend the same invitation to you. Will you show up? I know if your brother was there, Junior Cat, he would be there, because they were very close. Because Bobby did many things for him back in the days. There was something powerful about seeing people from different parts of Jamaican society come together to honor one person. Music, football, law enforcement, community, family, friends, different backgrounds, different career, but one shared history. That is Jamaica. And perhaps that is one of the greatest tributes Bobby Reds could receive. What does it mean to show up? Showing up isn't about making yourself the center of attention. It is the opposite. You enter quietly, you greet the family, you offer condolences, you sit, you remember, you pay respect. You don't need a microphone, you don't need a speech, you don't need a camera. Sometimes the most meaningful thing you can say to a grieving family is, I came because your loved one mattered. Think about that, Jonah Cat. 6 words. Your loved one mattered to me. That is priceless. Give people their flowers while they can receive them. This is also a message to everybody watching. Don't wait for funerals. If somebody help you, call them. If somebody change your life, tell them. If somebody protect you, thank them. If a teacher believe in you, find that teacher. If an old police officer helps steer you away from trouble, tell him. If a neighbor fed you when you and your family had nothing, remember her. If your mother is alive, call her. If your father is alive, call him. If you have a friend who you haven't spoken to because some foolish argument from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, consider whether that argument is worth carrying forever. Call a friend. Tell them that is just nonsense to ruin a good relationship over an argument. Because one day the telephone will ring and somebody will tell you they're gone. He's dead. She's dead. And suddenly everything you intended to say becomes something you wish you had said. So go ahead and make the call. Loyalty is measured when there is nothing to gain. There's another lesson here. Loyalty is easy when somebody is powerful, when somebody has money, when somebody can open doors, when somebody can give you something. But what happens when that person can no longer give you anything? What happens when there is no business opportunity, no favor, no publicity, no advantage? That is when remembrance became meaningful. A funeral is one of the few places where the person being honored cannot repay you for coming. Think about that. Bobby Reds cannot give anybody anything for attending. He cannot shake your hand. He cannot return a favor. He cannot promote anybody. Your presence, therefore, becomes something pure respect. Fame does not make one life more valuable than another. I also want to make another point. Celebrity culture sometimes teaches society a dangerous lesson. It can make us believe that famous lives matter more than ordinary lives. They don't. A police officer's life matters. A sanitation worker's life matters. A farmer life matters. A teacher's life matters. A grandmother raising 5 children life matters. A taxi driver matters. The elderly man sitting at the corner matters. Fame measures attention. It does not measure human worth. Bobby Reds did not need millions of flowers for his life to matter. His contribution was written in the lives he touched. The people of Hunsby, police area, St. Andrews South, Riverton, years have passed, uniforms disappear, buildings change, young people became parents, parents become grandparents, but community memories can survive. That is one of the things that amazes me. You can live somewhere physically and still discover that stories remain. Someone says, my father remembers you. My mother remembers Bobby Reds. My grandfather told me about those days. That is legacy. Right here at the Jamaica Young Police Channel, I receive calls from people all the time who told me how they remember me. Sometimes people tell me things that they have witnessed with yours truly. People all the way from St. Elizabeth, where I used to work, people from Crafts Hill police area, and they all tell me some things, and it is astonishing how people remember things. Legacy isn't necessarily a statue. Legacy isn't necessarily having a road named after you. Legacy can simply be people remembering that when you were there, you made a difference. What about Bobby Reds' death has made me think about? His passing has forced me to think about my own mortality. Because when somebody who stood beside you for years dies, you cannot avoid that thought. You start remembering the younger faces, the old police station, the vehicles, the bicycles, the bikes, motorbikes, the streets, the laughter, the disagreements, the dangerous days, the ordinary days, the sunny days, the rainy days. People you haven't thought about for years suddenly return to your memory. And you realize something. Life happened very quickly. At the time, those years felt endless. Now they feel like yesterday. That is why I don't want Bobby Reds' departure to become simply another funeral notice. I want people to stop for a moment and remember. This is bigger than one funeral. Some people say, oh, me and Bobby was friends. But guess what? They are not going. They are not coming. But I will be there. Because Bobby was my partner. He was my friend. He was my brother. Yes, this message isn't only for the famous names I mentioned. This message is for former police officers, former colleagues, residents, friends, entertainers, footballers, community members, people who knew Bobby Reds personally, people who simply respected his service. If you can attend, consider attending. If you cannot attend, there are still ways to show respect. Send condolences, call the family, share a positive memory. Just type it in the comment section below. Say his name. Tell younger Jamaicans who he was. That is also showing up. Because physical presence isn't always possible. What matters is genuine remembrance. And please, Jamaica, don't turn this into politics. Don't turn everything into politics. People should remind us that party colors eventually mean nothing. JLP, PMP, LGBTQ plus criminal organization, independent, police, civilian, entertainer, athletes, rich, poor. We know the majority of the members of the Jamaica Constable Force, them are PMP, LGBTQ plus criminal organization, supporters, voters and activists. And most of them are thieves too. And we say that without any apologies. Bobby Reds and I, we weren't thieves. We weren't thieves. I am from the belly of the beast. Jonestown, concrete jungle. No police, no guy can say that. We were thieves. Our team was the only team that was never one complaint of dishonest conduct. And at the end of life, those labels become very small. A family is grieving. Friends are grieving. Former colleagues are remembering. That should be enough. Let Bobby Reds farewell be about Bobby Reds. To Bobby Reds family, to the family of District Constable Sylford, Bobby Reds Williams, I want you to understand something. Yes, I want you to understand something. The fact that I continue speaking his name isn't performance. It is because I remember. I remember the years. I remember the partnership. I remember what we went through. And I want younger Jamaicans who never met him to understand that there was a man named Bobby Reds who served his country with honor, courage, and commitment. We weren't thieves. Bobby Reds wasn't a thief in police and was a part of a generation of Jamaican policing that deserved to be remembered. You lost a family member. I lost a partner. I lost a brother. I lost a friend. Jamaica lost another piece of its living history, and nothing can replace him, but we can preserve his memory. My message to the men I call Bounty Killer, Richie B, Josey Wales, Admiral Bailey, Ian Pepe Goodison, Junior Cat, and if Super Cat in Jamaica are Shabarangs, and others whose names I may not have called, please understand the spirit in which I am saying this. I am not demanding anything from you. I am not questioning your character. I am not claiming to know what you will do. I am saying, gentlemen, we have history. Bobby Reds has left us. And if circumstances permit, come and help us say goodbye. I'll be there. No speech is required. No cameras required. No publicity required. Just presence. Just respect. Just memory. I don't want no one comes because I want to see supporter. No, Bobby Reds. The empty chair. One day, every family experiences an empty chair. Christmas comes, Thanksgiving comes, the chair is empty. Birthday comes, the chair is empty. Sunday dinner comes, the chair is empty. You hear a song and remember them. You pass somewhere you used to visit together. You reach for the telephone and remember there is nobody to call. That is grief. And that is why funerals matter. They don't erase grief. They mark the moment when a community surrounds a family and says, you don't have to carry this moment alone. That is what showing up means. So let me return to where I started. Will you show up? Not for me. I'll be there, but you're not showing up for Bobby Reds. Not for Jamaica Young Police channel, for Bobby Reds. Not because somebody might photograph you, for Bobby Reds. Not because your name was mentioned in this video, for Bobby Reds. If this man cross your path, if you remember him, if you remember those years and days, if you remember Unspear, if you remember the old Jamaica, if you remember the friendships, if you remember the struggles, then come and stand with us. for one final moment, because there will never be another Bobby Red's funeral. There will never be another opportunity to attend his final farewell. There will never be another chance to walk through those doors and say, Bobby Red's respect, walk good. Walk good, my brethren. You were a bad police. And I want everybody watching to remember something tonight. Life is short. Fame is temporary. Money changes hands. Title disappears. Uniforms come off. Yes. Remember, titles disappear. Careers end. Applause stops. But how we treated people, how we remember people, how we stood beside people, that becomes our legacy. Bobby Red stood beside me, and today I'm standing for him. I am speaking his name. I am preserving his history. And I am asking people whose path cross ours. Will you stand with us for one more time? Bounty Killer, will you show up? Josey Wales, will you show up? Admiral Bailey, will you show up? Richie B, will you show up? Pepe Goodison, will you show up? Junior Cat, will you show up? Former colleagues, will you show up? Some of them who have Bobby have done things, not even a peek. Friends will show up. People from the communities we serve, will you show up? And to those who cannot physically be there, will you show up in another way? Send a message, type in the comment section below. Share a memory. Call the family. Say his name, Bobby Reds. Because a man's final worth should never be measured by how famous the people at his funeral are. It should be measured by the lives he touched. And Bobby Red touched lives. Sylford Bobby Reds Williams, my partner, my colleague, my friend, a part of the history that helped make me who I became. Your shift has ended. Your duty is completed. The streets you once traveled will continue without you. But those of us who remember will carry the stories. And as long as those stories are being told, Bobby Reds will not be forgotten. Gentlemen, ladies, will you show up to say goodbye? Because we have history. Rest well, Bobby Reds. Walk with my partner. Walk with my friend. Walk with my brother. Jamaica, Young Police Channel. Out. Or we can say Unspace 7. Out. That was our call sign. Have yourself a beautiful day. Unspace 7. Out.